So now we go back per why asylum. This exactly is why. In the next video which I have for you, you will get an idea about my birth country's profile, an idea which I will later talk about more, sharing about my childhood or growing up in what was first known as Yugoslavia, and finally, as it is known today, Independent Republic of Slovenia. Independent Republic of Slovenia, which is still nothing but communist Slovenia with a strong Yugoslav pretensions, of which ideas are mainly re-establishing old communist empire. Something of what all ex-pro-Soviet states are dreaming of. They are dreaming after these communists who are in power have basically stolen all the money from what used to be what used to belong to people, people's property. Again, just like during the Ottoman, Turkish, Byzantium conquests of Eastern Europe, and its style, and in the same style as called today humanistic style, style of the humanists, this communist parasites too tend to continue saga of exploration and blood-sucking over even own nations, which have betrayed in order to be entitled to luxuries which were granted to them by Americans. That is, of course, in return for allowing Americans to take advantage over greatly discounted factories, minerals, and all this, knowing that what's going to happen is failure of population, which will fall into dismay, embracement of self-failure, decline of education, progress, and so on and so forth. Just like humanists, the most important to them is them. They are the most important to them. That's it.
Okay, so to give you a real fast idea about the country where I'm coming from, or what is known as Slovenia. Do you see it here in the map? This little thing. Here on the west side is Italy. This here is basically Austria. And there is Germany right here. But this little country, Slovenia, used to be part of a German state and German nations, I would say, for over 1,400 years, which is also visible in one of the first maps. In year 972, these are basically the borders, which are the same like today, with exception of little change here on the east and a little loss here on the south. But pretty much the borders are the same with Austria, Germany. It was incorporated in Germany. And ever since, the border pretty much stayed the same until very today, because the people who lived here were really German people, real German people, and they therefore differed from other nations very, very much. This is the map of year 1000 in Europe, and what you see here was the German state. They did mix with Slavic population afterwards, when late arrivals of Slavs were recorded to these areas, but despite that did remain as Germans till after year 1900, or part of Austria. Upon the First World War, as Austria had fallen apart, one of the states that was stolen from Austria happened to be Krain. This is what our state used to be. It used to be Krain before. and it was changed into what is known today as Slovenia. Afterwards, enormous ethnic cleansing have taken place post World War Number II. Dictator Tito, the communist Tito, have pretty much filled mines, holes with our people, with bones of our people. Here is just one of the recent discoveries that have taken place. There were hundreds of thousands of people of ours that were basically executed and expelled out of the country. It is estimated today to be twice as many people of ours living across the border, outside of the state, out of the country, and which do not have even the right, even today, to return back to the country, as the country is still ran by, you see, these are all bones, still ran by the communists. And the communists and their precious progeny, which have taken charge after the independence war for Slovenia, which have taken place in year 1991. The communists basically knew about their future inability to rule the country against will of the people, who was very determined to break apart from what used to be Yugoslavia, nations with which we have absolutely nothing in common, except that we have suffered a lot of emigration from Bosnia, Serbia, and other republics after the Second World War, as enormous genocide took place, as I mentioned earlier. All our people were basically replaced with newcomers from Yugoslavia, and as ex-Soviet communist empire have fallen apart, they have actually decided to take the charge in this situation, which would take place anyway, in order to preserve their powers in post-war, post-1991 war situation, war which have taken place against genocide, which Serbs again have attempted, Yugoslavs have attempted to commit against our people. Nevertheless, the communists have executed first presidential candidate during first elections in post-war Slovenia. This is this little gentleman right here. His name was Ivan Kramberger. Basically executed him during his presidential election speech by simply shooting him. What gave them afterwards opportunity to establish parties, name system as a free democracy, as a multi-party system, democratic system. But sarcastically enough, the name of the country was and is still Slovenia, like Slav people, Slavonia, Slovakia. They have also determined that Russian flag would be the flag which would represent our nation, which have basically absolutely nothing to do, like I stated before, with Slavs or with the Slavic people. Today is a fact that each and every party that was established was and is ran by ex-communists. You know that it is impossible to change across the night. Once communist is always basically communist. And also the same thing happened with the factories and everything else. Factories are basically stolen. Our people today even are pushed across the borders. There is no prosperity for our young people, our people. Our workplaces, again, jobs are taken by newcomers from the south, while our people are basically forced and pushed across the border.